What's up, guys? Sub-Zero here, back for another VOD review. Today, we're going to be VOD reviewing the Tacticians Trials #1 in the Americas region. If you guys didn't catch it, this is, the first big tournament in Americas that leads into the Tacticians Cup. Not everybody can auto-qualify for the Cup, so you have some fantastic players playing the Trials. One of whom I believe didn't even check in. Let's actually, do they even have him on the list here? Because I believe I heard that Setsuko, he's not on the list. I heard that Setsuko didn't even, he was supposed to play in the Trials and then didn't actually even check in or something like that. But a lot of fantastic players, and none more fantastic, at least after day one, than Rainplosion here. Look at that, just a disgusting scoreline. 1-1-2, 1-2-2. So 3 firsts, 3 seconds, 45 points on the day. It's actually hilarious because, I was out today and I was just on my phone a little bit at one point and I saw Rainplosion tweets, "Help, I tried to replace my SSD before tournament and lost the screw. Now my boot drive is attached to my computer by gravity, and if my computer shakes, I'm AFE," which is just hilarious. And then after the tournament, she just tweeted, "NVM won 1.5 AVP." 1.5 AVP is, it's just absolute insanity to be able to go that, especially in a tournament like this. I think Rain is someone who's really good at calibrating her play to when she's playing against weaker competition, really being able to stomp. But these people aren't, these players aren't weak by any means. The cutoff to get into this tournament, at least in NA, was 700 LP or something like that. They aren't the high challengers, and there's people from other regions who made it in from lower LP. But these are all people who obviously take TFT very, very seriously here. This is actually a pretty interesting decision here, right, to start off the bat here, because we're holding onto the Trundle pair. We have Steb pair and Draven pair. Well, we can hold Steb pair and Draven pair here. We get 4 gold. We get the Trist and the set here. I'm kind of interested in this idea of, it seems like Rain, especially with his glove and belt open, really prioritized holding the Trist here, because you could hold onto the set here. Not only could you hold Steb and Irelia for a potential Rebel opener, but you could also hold the set for, I don't know, for Bruiser and stuff like that. But no, she wants to sell the set off here, buy these guys anyway, and, still hold on to these Bruisers. Kind of interesting, but okay. Yeah, it seems like, and let's see here. Yeah, she's going to play the Trist as well to potentially farm up a couple of stacks here. I don't know if this positioning farms 2 stacks for Trist. I know there are positionings that do it, but I think we're going to kill... Yeah, I think that was only 1 stack for Trist, which isn't ideal, but okay. And going to sell a couple of units that don't really matter to pick up the Ziggs here. All right. First augment, delayed start, especially with a 2-star and all these pairs, is just a non-starter. Blade Dance after selling the Aurelia, probably not going to happen. Good for something. Our opener's okay, and we actually do have an item that we'd like to slam in the Sunfire Cape, so I don't know. And then we roll into Bulky Buddies, which seems fine enough. I feel like you would just re-roll this and end up defaulting to Bulky Buddies, but we'll see. She actually takes the good for something here. Interesting. But this ends up being actually even more awkward in that we hit all of these upgrades. Between Pit Fighter and Conk, I like Conqueror on this board because honestly we're going to win a lot of these fights regardless, so might as well get some Conqueror stacks and farm up some Econ. But yeah, our board's pretty good already here. The big question for Rain at this point is actually going to be, are we going to slam Sunfire Cape here? Because obviously then, it becomes harder to farm good for something value, but the upside is that we can potentially play for win streak here. Well, so we'll see how this first fight goes. 1 of our units dies, 0 stacks, or 0 gold gotten for good for something. Yeah, a little bit of a tragic good for something here with all of our frontline upgraded, but I think Rain was thinking more if I don't hit these upgrades, I have the guaranteed econ, it's not bad. And she is just going to make the Sunfire Slam here immediately with the idea that I'm always going to be building Sunfire this game. If I'm not building Sunfire, then, something crazy has happened. And if I fight somebody really strong, I can play for win streak by slamming this. So let's see, we fight level 4 here. And yeah, they have a few upgrades. So honestly, we slam it. Makes sense. They're also a good for something player, though we're going to end up beating them. This is Biri, actually another fantastic player. I would say the other really, really known player in this lobby. So yeah, still none of our units have only one of our units has died so far this game. And that one unit did not farm us, which is pretty tragic, but okay. But yeah, Biri, fantastic player. I like the Trundle over the Rennie, but I'm interested in Raiden's thought process. Okay, she does think that as well, so I think that makes sense. Could even go for the pre-level as well, but we're gonna hold on to this Ezreal, it almost looks like. All right, fighting this Urgot 2 player who honestly looked kind of scary. We do have the Sunfire versus them. A lot of our units did die, but yeah, this is a fight where had we tried to greed augment really hard and not, and yeah, I love this. I think this makes perfect sense, the pre-level here. We don't have any pairs left at this point, so we'd love to just pick up higher cost units in this spot. But yeah, I mean, had we not slammed Sunfire, we wouldn't have won that fight. All right, glove open here. Would love to take. I mean, honestly, I don't mind a bow here. Yeah, you can take this for Last Whisper. Allows you to slam something. The only thing is, once again, this is another unit that we're slamming item onto, which once again is going to make it a bit harder to farm stuff. We do get the Violet back, so now we can play Pit Fighter on this board, which is definitely our best in here. And like honestly, you kind of want to just leave the Darius and the Violet. Like I would put my Bruisers in the middle here just to let Violet and Darius die, just to try to get as many stacks as possible here. Also, ooh, this player here looks like they might be playing that Zyra reroll comp, so we should keep an eye on this RSK RSK Ria. I'm interested to see. They look like they're 5 lossing actually into that comp, which seems pretty good, right? You have a ton of econ to work with. I'm actually pretty excited to see what their spot looks like. This is obviously not like a Draven reroll game or anything like that. There's also an interesting idea from Rain to say, you know what? At this point, I've gotten my Conqueror stack. Might actually just play. Yeah, I don't think it actually holds up here, but it's interesting to think about. That maybe you could play Enforcer over it, but I still think the stats from Conqueror are pretty nice. And I mean, there's a world where we could actually get to 35 stacks when, I mean, we're on a 5 streak here. Yeah, pretty uncontested 5 streak from Rain. She didn't even have to make the Last Whisper actually, so I think she's feeling really, really good about the spot, honestly. Though that was actually interesting. She sold off Darius here to hold on to the Maddie. The idea being that I guess Maddie is our next in on this board, and so we'd rather hold that than like Darius. And hey, the second we pick up a Swain, now we can fit Swain onto the board and feel pretty decent about this as well. She's just gonna fit the Maddie on the board to try to sack multiple units too. This is a nice little optimization, try to make sure we can get good for something value on Krugs here, because this might be our first gold farm from good for something. Finally, it has been an entire stage, and so far our augment has given us 1 gold, which is pretty rough. Okay, I mean, item-wise here, we have some pretty obvious direction in the triple bows. Can't make red buff because we made, I mean, you don't want to make red buff because we made Sunfire. So I think it leans pretty naturally into a Gwinsu's Last Whisper here. And the other thing that I kind of wanted to talk about this game, which, you know, I'm sure the title alludes to, I make the titles after I make the videos. But, you know, I think the second that Rain sees Gwinsu's and Last Whisper as potential slams here, she sees the idea of playing into this comp that I think a lot of people are really, really high on now, which is Twitch. They buffed Twitch pretty considerably this patch, bringing his mana from 60 down to 40, so he's casting a lot more. And they, you know, nerfed some of the other comps in the meta, so I think a lot of people are very, very excited for Twitch nowadays. Piercing Lotus is an interesting idea. I mean, the problem is we just made LW, so you probably don't want to take it. It does give you that IE type effect. I mean, Bronze for Life has to be pretty solid in that comp, right? You can get a decent amount of value out of it. Though it is Gold Bronze for Life, which I think a lot of people are lower on than the Prismatic version, but we'll see what Rain actually prios here. Yeah, no Bronze for Life here. Scavenger, meh, like I've said a million times, I don't love it. So we're just like support Anvil here. And then yeah, Moonstone, I mean, tends to be a broken support item. So yeah, we just end up getting this. It's kind of funny though. This is once again another item that's going to make it harder for us to proc this Bronze for Life. Yeah, or not Bronze for Life, but the first augment that we took there, Good for Something. It's another something for something augment. But yeah, Good for Something here. It's been pretty bad, I will say. I think if we could go back, I think Rain would have just, if she had known that she was about to hit 2-star bruisers, she would have just taken the bulky buddies and then just, you know, played that the entire game. I think that would have been fine. Wow, this is the nice thing though about Good for Something is it does incentivize these early levels. And also, we were talking about the Conqueror. Rain actually gets to play 4 Conqueror here on this board because she held on to those other Conquerors and kept the dream alive. And look at the stacks flying, 45 stacks. We got to our 35 stacks and just blew past it. I don't know how many stacks we're gonna get, but yeah, I mean, gonna start putting into Team Planner this idea of playing around experiments and Twitch. The only thing is you are certainly far off of making an IE, and I don't know if you can even. Yeah, Rain had the opportunity to go for glove here to look for IE, but she just wants to finish. Like she doesn't want to be stuck too much on only damage items, right? Like if you take glove here, things just get really quite awkward. So I think this makes a lot more sense. Take the chain vest here, make Protector's Vow. Yeah, and just you balance your front line and your back line items really, really nicely. And it doesn't really matter that we don't have this. Honestly, this bow can end up being a Giant Slayer, can be a Renans or something, and you can be pretty happy with it. Just play what the game gives you. I think she's done a fantastic job of actually playing around her items. And look at this, man, another win up to 60 stacks. She's gonna get the 65 stack cash out. I don't think she's gonna get much faster or much further than that, because I mean, we're so rich from the 10 streak and the Conqueror and the very, very minor amount of gold from good for something that, I mean, I think it's just going to be a 4-1 pivot the board. We'll see how much he opts to pivot it. Could even maybe be some kind of fast 9 idea, but our board is going to be pretty horrible. Stage 4 with just Draven, with just 1 cost as our carries here, we would get pretty wrecked, I would say, but we'll see. See what happens. We do pick up a little bit of gold there, and we do get to our next cash out there, pick up a Zoe. So, I mean, 4 gold's 4 gold. Best case scenario, you would have wanted a Twitch or a Mundo or something to actually get value out of it, but this is, you know, all right. And starting to already kind of pivot the board into a lot of the units that we want to play around, because, yeah, Rain knows we are this rich. Why not just level next round and roll it down? We also have a lot of decent options here for stuff to make. We have, like, Renans and then, like, tank items, but, yeah, let's see the roll down here. LeBlanc Rumble is kind of interesting. Shielding a lot of weird units here, actually. Finally pick up the Twitch. Found Mbessa 2, which is actually going to go onto this board. LeBlanc as well, we're holding some of. Get the Rumble in here. Ooh, what an interesting version of the board. She doesn't actually get Twitch in the right spot here, just because she's spending this time like figuring out what the board is going to look like. And then items-wise, I think that Renans makes perfect sense. And then, ooh, a Hodge here ends up being actually the idea being that Vi is going to hold this pretty nicely. Not sure where it's going to go later, but we'll find out. I wonder if you do, I mean, Little Buddies seems pretty reasonable for now. I don't know how high the value for Little Buddies is in this comp later. And wow, just continuing rolling down just like straight to 0 here. It's going to be interesting to see what version Rain wants to play. And yeah, already the second she hits a few of these upgrades, she starts pivoting out of this board. This is a really clean pivot actually into the Corki version of the board, Corki Caitlyn as well here. So we have a bunch of kind of like backlane carries. How many Little Buddies do we have now though? I think we just have Urgot, right? Which is pretty unfortunate. Yeah, it feels like our Little Buddies value is, I mean, she's really looking to pick up Zyra down the line. Yeah, that's, and just play around like Urgot plus Zyra, which seems pretty reasonable. Also, now that we're on the 12 streak, we do pick up the Zyra. That's a Mundo Tundo. So I feel like that has to come onto the board here. And now we just pivot into 5 experiment. Wow. I mean, and then the idea is, do you want to play the Mbessa here? I mean, it's an Mbessa 2, so you probably play it. I mean, this is a really cool flex roll down from Rain. Honestly, we could have even brought that down to 1x speed because there are a lot of cool decisions there. And just the figuring out this board, you know, we're playing the other version, but we really want to get the Zyra in, even though we don't have IE onto Twitch, so the ability damage doesn't have the ability to crit, which is a little bit unfortunate, but, you know, the upside is that we get a little buddy onto the board, especially with the Caitlyn that we picked up. That feels really good. We also do have, I mean, I was going to say, like, theoretically you could get experiment spat here, but I mean, it's it actually almost happened. That's actually so crazy that spat lasted that long. But okay, after Twitch 2 here, I think we're absolutely good, right? There's no I think. Our spot is insane. I like this as well. Take Zyra off the experiment hex and throw the Urgot on there because we have our Twitch ability damage is really not that high in the grand scheme of things. So yeah, it's just gonna be 5 experiment plus the Elise here is just a solid bruiser plus the Caitlyn as a solid sniper, and then just this Randa Mbessa on the board, and you use it for the emissary bonus and use it just for the fact that, I mean, she's a 2-star Mbessa, holding onto the Violet as well though, with the idea, or Vi, actually not Violet. I mean, this I don't think this is very good. Could be fun, I guess. Wow, Rain's really thinking about it. I mean, we are snowballing really hard. Wow. Is she talking? Did she say something here? Because I want to hear her.
Is it all Twitch? I'm playing for first, right? My damage is 90% Twitch. I'm playing for first. Okay.
Oh, it's an interesting idea. So like her idea is like this is a very, very like she said there, we're playing for first, which I mean makes sense, right? You're 100 streaking, it's 4-6. You're just playing for the highest cap possible. And I mean, this is an anomaly that kind of infinitely scales. As long as you're getting more kills, you're scaling up this anomaly. So who really cares about like strength right now? You care about just being as strong as possible throughout the entire game. That's an interesting idea. My thought is that you kind of get to attack speed overload on Twitch, but I guess at the same time, there's maybe no such thing as too much attack speed on this Twitch unit. And then obviously like Renan scales really well with, you know, how many times you're actually attacking. So maybe actually good enough here. I mean, I'd love to see an LW moved off of Twitch and onto the Caitlyn, and then Twitch ends up getting like an IE or even just like a Deathblade or something, some kind of AD item. We'll see if something like that can end up occurring. Doesn't look like it's going to occur anytime soon. We're probably going to be forced to make like a Crown Guard and a... we don't have Redemption, so I mean... But where's the Crown Guard going? Pretty awkward, actually. She's looking at maybe... We have all the Armor Tread and Heal Cut that we care about. So then, like, the biggest limiting factor in my head is, like, what is this belt going to become? I guess our idea is maybe Crown Guard Stair Axe. Ooh, I like that. Crown Guard Stair Axe. Yeah, I think this makes the most sense. And then, so we're holding on to these Vi's with the idea that they just have really nice synergy with the board. It's Enforcer with Caitlyn, and it's Pit Fighter with the Urgot. And, you know, obviously giving Urgot Pit Fighter doesn't really matter that much. But the upside, ooh, that was actually a crazy fight. The upside is that you're getting Pit Fighter onto Vi, which is big. So we can just push 9 here. Rain's going to roll for something to play on this board. Really also just rolling for the Vi 2, because the second we get Vi 2, we can be interested in either cutting the Ambessa or at least moving items over. And yeah, I think cutting the Ambessa seems pretty reasonable in this spot. A 0 item Ambessa is not going to do a ton on the board. And she also ends up just getting Tristan onto this board. Artillerist for the Corki is pretty, or actually we cut the Corki for the Trist. Yeah, the Artillerist for the Urgot still is like whatever. But the nice thing is it's just the Emissary bonus, a bunch of attack speed, which our board is 1.56 attack speed starting the combat, and then obviously we have Gwynsu stacking up as well. Like our board just has infinite attack speed. All right, this fight we won't commentate. I'm gonna take a big gulp of water because I've been nonstop talking for 50 minutes, and I've had a long day. It's actually me 2 gulps of water. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Rainplosion. I actually just jinxed her so hard. She was winning every fight until I drank water. That was I did not watch this game ahead of time. That was unplanned. No, it is planned there. Is picking up that experiment +1. That's fantastic. Oh, and it's little buddies value getting the Tristan. Which is nice to note as well. Ooh, this is a cool little version. There's so many traits in here, actually. We fit the Dominator in with the Ziggs here. The idea being that, I mean, before with Corki, it was Scrap, which is pretty cool, but also it's little buddies value. So we get little buddies value from the Trist, we get little buddies value from the Ziggs, our entire level 9, and eventually maybe level 10. We'll see what our level 10 actually looks like, but so far, level 8 and 9 has just been adding little buddies to this board, because now we ended up getting out of the Zyra because it's just like she's the easiest one to cut. But like we now have the Urgot, the Ziggs, and the Trist. I mean, 3 little buddies on this board, pretty good, and only 1 non-little buddyable unit in the Nunu, and then everything else is either 4 cost or 5 cost. So the spot looks fantastic. Twitch scaling really nicely. This I really need to I like how Rain kind of thought about this anomaly, which is just that, like, this is an anomaly that is going to scale really, really hard with game time. Yeah, we've gotten 29 kills so far, so that's another 29% attack speed just tacked on to our Twitch. In a spot like that where we have high tempo, we're killing a lot of units, and where we know that, like, we don't need to be winning right now, we need to be winning the entire game. You can just play for the win. And also, I just looked over to the right there. Look at the HP in this lobby, man. 12 and 6 HP. I mean, you can see why Rain had such a good scoreline on the day. She's just stomped through the entire lobby, played a really, I think the huge, like, my biggest takeaway from this game was the flex roll down on level 8. I thought that was beautiful. The keeping, like, the Ambessa idea in, holding on to the Violets to come in, or Vi to come in, eventually pivoting into 5 Experiment when it made sense. Like, I don't know, I feel like she just played that level 8 pivot perfectly, which put her in a fantastic spot. Though we are actually, we pushed level 10, we hit a Victor, we still lost a fight there, which is pretty incredible. And I imagine that was the second place player. Yeah, it is this Mondo Urgot here, just the biggest Urgot of all time. Also, cool to see her priority. She does care about using the Experiment emblem, using that to dupe, which is pretty interesting. But yeah, the big thing here is just, 1, making sure your Vi hopefully gets on the Urgot and gets some casts off, and 2, making sure your Stunfire stays alive. The Vi, this fight was pretty close here. I wonder if Rain ever would consider putting someone else on Experiment Text and just being able to move the Vi up just so that she can get a cast off faster. Oh my god, wait. That is a Warwick on level 10. That is 7 Experiment on this board. I mean, that's pretty good. That's not bad at all, actually. That is really the spike that I think we were looking for here. So let's see what this version of the board can do. Obviously, we had to cut some other stuff, but I don't think Rain will be too upset about it. The Vi ends up walking up there. We get some duplicates of all of our units, and yeah, this fight is way less close, and that's what it takes for Rainplosion to win out. I mean, just a beautifully played game, front to back. I feel like she played around win streak so nicely in the early game. The good for something augment definitely felt a little bit underwhelming, but you know, good enough. She didn't need an augment. And then I really love that 4-2, that or it's 4-1, right? That 4-1 rolled in, I thought was beautiful, just putting together a really nice board. And then as it made sense, pivoting out of it, right? The second we had little buddies, we wanted to pivot into a board that made more sense for little buddies, just played around augment beautifully. So hope you guys enjoyed this VOD review. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. Day 2 of Tacticians Trials is going to be tomorrow, so if you guys are interested in watching, check it out. I'll be busy during some of it, maybe. I mean, I'll definitely do a VOD review from it. But yeah, thanks everyone for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.